Hi everyone, and today I'm talking about a woman I worked with who had she had what is essentially health anxiety. Now I've worked with more than one person with health anxiety. This woman's health anxiety manifested as a real fear of illness. She also had painful knees and legs, which hurt all the time when she was walking, when she was in bed. She felt maybe she had a touch of arthritis in both of them, and she had a feeling that she didn't get enough air, so she felt like she couldn't kind of expand her lungs properly. She felt tired a lot of the time, and she also had occasional palpitations. So those were the three things we worked with, and we did I did a 4 session. We agreed that she would do 4 sessions, and we kind of do a 4 session case study to see what would happen if we could, how we could work with these three issues and see if we could help her. But the thing she really, really wanted to get rid of was her debilitating fear of illness. She was so scared of getting ill, and fear of her loved ones getting ill. And it was fundamentally because she thought in all instances it would end in death. So in her own words, she felt she was close to being paranoid with this fear because it was irrational. It would pop up when she just really was not expecting it. So I've chosen one healing report to illustrate her sessions. What I did with her was we worked roughly about every 7 to 10 days, and I asked her for feedback every week after the session. So like between session 3 and 4, I said, please give me feedback. So I kind of knew how she was tracking, if that makes sense, and so that I could tweak my thinking around how I wanted to approach this and what maybe we should be looking at in terms of the detail. So this report I've chosen because it's an interesting one, because it's a psychotic miasm, which I released from all of the family line, including her daughter. So it was inherited from her mother's mother's mother, 13 generations in the feminine line. Then there was a broadcast message saying, I am vulnerable. And this was relevant to her health. So she had a message that she was throwing out with her subconscious mind saying, I am vulnerable, and feeling this was related to her health. And she created this at the age of 9 to 10. Then she had many things feeding this. So we have the broadcast message sitting here saying, I am vulnerable. And then underneath, there were all these trapped emotions, feelings of dread, shock, terror, shame, longing, wishy-washy, overwhelm, worthless, overwhelm again, humiliation, shame again, dread again, humiliation again, jealousy, worthlessness, overwhelm, lots and lots, starting at about age 5 and going through to sort of 3 or 4 years ago. So my feeling is that she started creating this vulnerability about her health at a very young age, and then she kept on sort of adding the layers to it, if you like, as she got older and older. So the main ones finished at about 13 to 14, and then she had a whole lot of more about 4 years ago. And then she also had heart walls of betrayal. So heart walls are the walls we build around our hearts to protect our hearts from being hurt. And they are like energetic walls that our subconscious builds in response to something that happens to us. It says, oh, well, we don't want that to happen again. And so it builds walls to try and protect our heart from being hurt more. And she had heart walls of betrayal, love unreceived, self-blame, overwhelm, all at 8 to 9. And these all were supporting the broadcast message. So we released the broadcast message and everything that was feeding it. So here is some of her feedback. These are screenshots from my phone that I'm reading off. She says, Jen, I can tell you that my chest has felt easier after the last few days. I've had one bad night's sleep, but the others have been fine once I managed to get myself comfortable. I had a moment where I just wanted to burst into tears. I didn't. But for about half an hour, I felt totally, totally anxious. And she said, I went with it as you said, and it did pass. So what I said to her was, and what I say to all my clients is, that you may experience, as an aftermath to healing, you may experience echoes of the emotions that we have released. So you may almost bump into these echoes, and they may trigger for you feelings, overwhelming feelings, big feelings, or they may trigger for you memories of things that have happened. But when this happens, it's okay, and just know that it will pass. It will pass, because this is just you re-experiencing the memories. Then her next piece of feedback the following week said, I'm having a good week. Thank you. I slept really well, feel better in myself, not feeling so worried about illness at the moment. Long may that last. And my chest has not been tight at all. Then she said, final feedback, I'm still feeling pretty good, much calmer, not feeling panicked about illness at the moment. After so long feeling awful, it's such a relief to feel the way I do at the moment. And even my knees haven't been as bad. So what I just want to say from my perspective is that if I look at her feedback reports, and there's 4 reports, as I said, if I look at them, I can kind of spot the report where we were working with her knee pain, where we were working with her breathlessness, where we were working with palpitation, where we were loosening her grip on fear. But this one that I chose to share with you is because of the psychotic miasm, which is interesting, and also because of the broadcast message. So miasm is an inherited distortion of the energy field from a repressed disease that occurred during an ancestor's life. That is quoting Dr. Bradley Nelson, who is the founder of the Body Code and the Emotion Code. When Dr. Samuel Hahnemann discovered 3 of the 7 miasms 200 years ago, he observed that many people who had infectious gonorrhea also developed small warts all over their body. So he named this miasm psychotic, meaning figwort. Pronounced the same as psychotic as in the mental illness. It's spelled differently, but is not related to it, and it doesn't mean the same thing. So she had a psychotic miasm, which is an inherited distortion of the energy field from a repressed version of gonorrhea from one of her ancestors. So this can manifest for her as rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, Tourette's syndrome, fibromyalgia, herpes impotence, and sterility. Because of this miasm's ability to create arthritis, people may notice some muscle stiffness and swelling of the joints. So she didn't have all of these symptoms, but she did have some of them. Oh, stitching pain in the chest, that's another one that comes from psychotic miasm. And then about the broadcast message. So once I've identified one of these intuitively, very often I ask the client, if I'm doing a face-to-face on Zoom session, I say, does this resonate with you? And very often the answer is yes, especially when I give the age. When I say that you created this at age such and such, then most of the time the client will say, yes, I do remember that. And it's like a limiting belief system. It's a message continually sent out by our subconscious mind, which is heard by ourselves and heard by others. And it can influence how we form and how we keep relationships. It can influence the kind of people we attract into our lives. And, you know, it's just generally not a great thing to have. So it's a good thing to release. So the feedback that I've shared with you is the feedback that she gave me during our 4 sessions. But then she sent me a little testimonial at the end, like a final testimonial feedback. And she said, this is awesome. She said, Jen has made such a huge difference in my life. I am calmer. I'm feeling much better. I'm no longer plagued with panic over my fear of illness, and my high anxiety levels are basically gone. Isn't that wonderful? When she sent me that, I was quite close to tears, because I was so grateful. I was so grateful that I was able to serve her. I was so grateful that she had noticed a difference in her life. I was so grateful for this work I do. I'm always grateful for this work I do. I think it's incredible work. I think it's amazing work. I think I'm so blessed and lucky to do this work. So if you have arthritic knees, if you have arthritic hands, if you have arthritic wrists or hips or joints or anything, please contact me. I would love to see if we can release these for you and bring you back some more mobility and freedom of movement in your joints. And of course, if you have any health fears or health concerns, sort of irrational fears, not really any reason for them that you're aware of, why don't you give it a try? You never know until you try. I'd be so honored, and I would be so completely chuffed to serve you. Right, I'm ending off now. I'm stopping the recording. Thanks for listening. It was great talking to you, and you take care. Bye-bye.